Hey everyone, I'm back with you today. I would schedule another YouTube live session just to see if anybody wants to hang out with me. Last time I had a couple people show up. There's 4 people here already. So thank you for joining. I don't have anything particular on my mind to share with you today, but I'd make myself available to answer any questions. So if you just type them right into the chat, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. A little bit of news, I suppose. Joey Schott over at Turning Point Boat Works is the builder of Westside Boat Shop kayaks. If you don't know, I bought the Westside Boat Shop kayak business from Doug Bushnell, who is the original designer and builder of these fine boats. I bought that business from Doug and had worked out an arrangement with Joey Schott at Turning Point Boat Works for Joey to build these boats because I felt I needed another master boat builder on the level of Doug Bushnell to really do these boats justice. So that's where these boats are actually built. Last weekend, Joey had to move to another shop, a different location. He needed a different space, a different layout. And he announced that on his Facebook channel and I believe on YouTube. So he shared this news already. But last weekend, we helped him move to his new shop. I think he's pretty well settled in there by now. So he's in a better space, a better physical space to manufacture not only my boats, but he builds the petrels and the petrol play, I believe, which have always been like cedar strip kit boats. Well, Joey has the rights to build those out of composite materials like carbon fiber. So he does the molding of those boats. And, he's got the new, I think it's the petrol coming out soon. And that boat is going to be a hit when, if you're into a high end sea kayak, go check out Joey Schott at Turning Point Boat Works. Yeah, we're ramping up for spring production here. We're putting a production list together here. Garrett, thanks, Garrett. Hey, I'm glad to chat with you online last night. So Garrett is a U.S. National Wild Water team member, and I've met him and raced with him a couple times. Last year we met at, I think, the Little D on the Monocacy, and I hope to see you there again this year. That'll be in, I believe, April. I don't remember the exact date. But there was a little chat online about, I think last time I did one of these, I talked about people getting hung up on boat specifications. And yes, they're important. If you want a fast competitive boat, it needs to be fairly long and fairly skinny in general. And then, I talked to a lot of people who get hung up over like a difference of a couple pounds from going from like Kevlar to carbon Kevlar. And I made a comment that for most people, a couple pounds either way doesn't really matter. Well, for average people who are carrying extra weight on their bodies, that's true. And that was the spirit and the intent of my comment. Garrett pointed out, yeah, a pound or 2 or 5 in a boat makes a huge difference. Absolutely, it does. If you're at the level where you can take advantage of a lighter boat by a few pounds, and that means you've got everything else optimized. Your body is lean and mean, and yeah, at some point, a few pounds in a boat does make a difference. So, Garrett, thanks for the back and forth on that one. He's asking me what's the lead time on a West Side boat. Right now, I think we're running at with Joey's move, I'm not sure, but we had been running at about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm guessing probably 5 to 7 weeks right now if I got an order today, just to play it safe till Joey gets all settled in and ramps up production. The new Westside Boat Shop catalog is on my website at davethekayaker.com. I also have another website, westsideboatshopkayaks.com. That has some videos and an interview I did with Doug Bushnell. It gives you a little bit of a background of ago when I bought the business, what that process was like. I talked to the guy who actually put the deal, basically got Doug and I together to start talking with each other, John Allen up in New York. He was really the facilitator to get Doug and I talking to, and we negotiated for me to buy that business. We executed an asset purchase agreement. So Westside Boat Shop kayaks.com is where you can see those videos. There's a little Q&A there, but mostly that's a redirect to my main website at davethekayaker.com. And that's where you'll find the 2023 catalog. I held my prices from last year. Prices did not go up. That means I'm taking a little bit of a hit, but I felt it was important to keep prices. I just wanted to hold the prices this year. The price of everything else is going up tremendously. I mean, just go to the grocery store, and that cart that you used to fill for $75, you fill up half of that cart now, and it's $200 easily. Just look at eggs. I just felt it was important to keep the prices as low as I possibly could. Westside Boat Shop kayaks are high-end competitive racing kayaks. They are still less expensive than ordering like a brand new surf ski from one of the other companies. And I did that with intent. I just wanted to be very competitive with the pricing of these boats. And I just felt it's important for an American designed, American built company to still remain competitive and show that we can build these boats and still compete on price. Joey employs a couple people in his shop, so they're still built by Americans. Yeah, thanks, Garrett. Yeah, for getting back to the weight thing, yeah, a couple pounds in a boat makes a huge difference for competitive kayakers, but for most people, I think Doug Bushnell used to tell me for every pound lighter you would get the boat, it costs you about an extra $100. And that seems about right based on the layup and the layers and how you want it built. So you just ask yourself, am I better investing hundreds of more dollars to take a few pounds off my boat, or maybe should I work on the engine to take a few pounds off that? So there's a balancing act there. My favorite Westside Boat Shop kayak ever is something called the Westside Boat Shop Thunderbolt X, and that is this boat right here. You could go to my YouTube videos, and you'll see me do a little demo of this boat, and I show it off. I ordered my first one from Doug Bushnell directly. I think it was in 2013. Absolutely fell in love with that boat. It was so much faster than the boat I was paddling at the time, which was the old Plastic Cobra Viper wild water boat. I love that boat. I still love that boat. Still have that boat. It's great for rapids and where you're going to encounter rocks and you don't want to beat up a high-end composite boat. But I went from that Cobra Viper, which really taught me balance. It's a wild water boat that was very tippy when I first bought it, mastered that. Then when I went to the Thunderbolt X, I just could not believe. I think I was going from average paddling speeds of like 5.3 miles an hour over 10 miles to like 5.7, 5.8, like instantly just in the change of boat. And, since then I've improved my technique and gotten better in the boat. But that's a huge, huge difference going from plastic to that Thunderbolt X. It is 21 feet long at its longest point, 20.6 inch waterline length. So most of the boat sits in the water, and that sits you up higher. You're in less contact with the water. That makes you faster. It's 18 inches wide at its widest point, and the 4-inch waterline width there is 15 3/4 inches. So only 15 3/4 inches of that boat is in the water. So it's really fast. It's really sleek. And it is by far my favorite. Cheers. Got the morning coffee going here. I later had a chance to buy a second Thunderbolt X. The first one I bought was in Kevlar. The second one I bought was in carbon Kevlar. I bought that used. Again, just a fabulous, fabulous boat. Doug's most popular boat is something called the EFT. That stands for Extra Fast Tourer. Later, he renamed it the Sleek because what he did was took some width out of the bow, made it a sharper entry into the water. Then he called that the Sleek, and I think that confused some people. It is an EFT, it is a Sleek. What's the difference? That was the only difference. I'm calling that boat now the EFT Sleek. And because he sharpened that bow and the dimensions of everything else changed, it's a 19-foot, 4-inch long boat, 20 inches wide. So for Chattajack or some races where they define kayak versus surf ski by the width of the boat, the EFT Sleek actually fits in the category of a kayak. Okay, so it's 20 inches or wider. Whereas the Thunderbolt X, even though it's a kayak, would qualify as a surf ski because it's 18 inches wide. So the EFT Sleek, that was Doug's most popular boat of all time. I've built a couple of these. You see the first customer's boat here. She's got a teal deck on it. It's a cool looking boat. We can put colors on the deck. It's going to cost you, probably an extra 3 pounds or so to add that color. So yeah, if a few pounds do matter to you, just leave it in the carbon Kevlar or Kevlar. And I mean, to me, that's the beauty of these boats. You see the material; they're just beautiful. You can see the construction, and I think really that's how these boats should be seen. So the EFT Sleek, that the most popular boat. It's a great stepping stone if you're in maybe like a 22-inch wide boat, maybe a wider surf ski, like I don't know what the sellers and epics. It'd be like an S14, S16, or like a V7. If you want to go a little narrower and a little faster, the EFT Sleek would be your next logical progression up in the sport from that point. At 20 inches wide, it's stable for a fast boat, but it's for most people it's going to be challenging. But it's got enough stability that you can go out on it all day once you master it and just paddle faster and cover more ground in the same amount of time than you ever have. Just going through boats here. Got the Delta, which is kind of it's the little guy in the lineup. It's 13 inches, 13 feet 10 inches long, and 23 and 5/8 inches wide at its widest point. It's got a bit of a small cockpit. It's a 32-inch cockpit, so most people try to get in it. And if you have an old wild water boat like the Phoenix Match 2, it's got kind of the small cockpit. That's what the Delta is. If you're larger or carrying extra weight, you're going to find it a little challenging getting in and out of the boat. But it's just a great little quick boat. Another great entry point into performance kayaking. If you're on a budget and you want something better than plastic or maybe a sea kayak, that would be the Delta. And then from there, the cream of the crop in my mind is the Marauder. I've got one of those. I bought one of those used, and that is the boat I actually bought from John Allen up in New York. 21 feet long, 17 inches wide at its widest point. Okay, so he took an inch off the Thunderbolt X, and the waterline length of that boat is 21 feet long. So the entire length of the boat is actually the waterline length. So it's narrower, it's higher. It's by far the fastest kayak I've ever paddled in my life. I paddled it the last 2 years at the Folar race. It's the Friends of the Lower Appomattox River. It dominated the kayak division and the surf skis for that matter. A great boat. If you want like the fastest kayak you can find, order yourself a Marauder. Get on the list to order one of these boats. All I do is call me. It's 608. Oh boy, it's 804-608-9727. That's 804-608-9727. Call me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about, what boats you've paddled, what your skill level is, and we can help kind of figure out what Westside Boat Shop kayak might make sense for you and what options you want. Like the Delta, for instance, you can put an overstern rudder on it, but it doesn't need one. So we'll talk about whether you want a rudder or not. The longer designs absolutely need rudders, or you'll need an entire ocean to turn it in a circle. Yeah, give me a call. Let's talk. All I ask is for a 50% deposit to get your boat started, and then you just pay me the remaining 50% when you pick the boat up, either in Richmond, Virginia, or Charlottesville, Virginia. Or I'll travel some distance to meet people too. I've gone to Roanoke. I've gone over to Luray. If I can save you a few hours off your trip, I bet somebody in Harrisonburg, Virginia, just to make it easier to be along an interstate. The lady who bought the EFT Sleek came from, I think, Texas or Oklahoma. So I met her in Roanoke. So that, it's 2 hours away, but it saved her 4 hours of drive time. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, go check out the catalog. The next boat I think I'm going to have Joey build for me is the Wave Exceed. And there were 3 boats in the Wave series. I've got the Wave XL, which was 19 feet long. The Wave Exceed, Doug basically, again, did what he did with the EFT Sleek. He narrowed the bow of the boat to make it skinnier and sharper into the water. and it's another 18-inch wide boat. It's the most modern and fastest of the Wave series. Okay, that's the Wave Exceed. I want one of those boats. The Wave XL is just, it's not quite as sharp in the bow. It's a little bit slower. And then the first generation he had was the Wave Ultra. I still have the molds for that boat, but honestly, if you're thinking of one of the boats in the Wave series, go for the Wave XL. I'm sorry, the Wave Exceed. It is by far the best boat in that series. My Wave XL, I suppose, if somebody wanted to buy one or buy one used, I'd sell mine off if you're interested. I also have the Wave Ultra that I'm selling off as used. I've got the Delta and the EFT Sleek as demo boats here in Charlottesville, Virginia. So if you want to try one before you buy it and do a test paddle, you're welcome to try any of those. I've got the Thunderbolt. I've got my personal boat, the Thunderbolt X, personal boat, the Wave XL, my personal boat, the Marauder. You're welcome to test paddle any one of those boats as well to see which boat you want to choose before you order. So make arrangements with me. Come down to Charlottesville, Virginia, and we can get you into a test paddle. And aside from that, I don't see any more questions. I think I'll sign off right here. Thanks for joining, Garrett. Have a great day, buddy. Hope to see you on the water this year. Yeah, just be safe out there. It's a beautiful day here. I'm going to go out paddling right now. The water is still cold, so just be careful, take precautions, wear a wetsuit or a dry suit if you're out there, especially if you're out there alone. Just be safe. Take a dry bag with extra clothes. And where I work out, there are houses that along the lake. I have a backup plan, and then a backup plan to the backup plan. I dress for the weather. I've got a bag full of dry clothes in case I spill the boat and you have to get out on land. I can change clothes and be dry and warm. And then my backup to that is just get myself to somebody's house and get some help because they have homes right on the waterway. So don't take chances. If you can paddle with a buddy or a partner or a group, you're much better off doing that. Cheers. So just be safe, especially coming in the spring where the weather starts to look beautiful and you think, oh, it's time to get back on the water. Just remember that water temperature is still very, very cold. So have happy paddling, have safe paddling. Check me out at davethekayaker.com. Check out the Westside Boat Shop kayaks. Download your catalog. Yeah, it's just some great boats, absolute great boats. I had to save these designs. I just had to save the company. And I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate the visitors. I appreciate you liking my videos and subscribing to this channel. And we'll see what the feedback is and maybe do this again soon. So take care. Be safe and happy paddling.